I thought at some point they just stopped picking strength heroes now because you're against Timbersaw.
Ooh.
There's a Nyx Assassin, one of your favorites to come out, John. Why is this such a good hero in this current draft?
You're gonna stop kisses from a mile away. You're gonna stop the channeling of Solar Guardian with Nyx Assassin. Even the Mars isn't gonna feel comfy. Spike Carapace is such a big spell for Army Geniuses to play with, and Narman has shown us to be one of the better Nyx players here on his pause 4. So it's such a great Nyx game. Not in the traditional sense where you're just gonna burst people down with Vendetta. Your mana burn's gonna burn through these high int heroes. Not in that way, but Spike Carapace is insanely valuable to stop Execration from taking the fight. So I love the pick for AG. It makes the game a lot harder for Execration because all their momentum's on these 3 heroes. Unless they can find something mid that can just ride through that with a matchup of Ember. But even then, mid matchups against Ember, like say Puck, Lina, none of them do well against Nyx. The Nyx is going to have a good time there. So it just covers all the bases for AG.
Even the mana burn, right? Like on the Nyx Assassin, like you're against the Dawnbreaker, low mana pool. Mars, low mana pool. Snapfire, not too bad. They'll go for the Puck matchup, which is very interesting, John, because Puck, a very high intelligence hero and tends to really enjoy int. So against the Nyx Assassin, that mana burn, it's gonna hurt.
I don't think they had a choice there, Mike, right? Like we talked about just the Nyx covering all the bases. Any mid matchup for the Ember. Sure, you can still have a great time in laning for the Puck, right? You can still work that lane against Ember Spirit. Although Ember versus Puck isn't necessarily a win for Puck. We've seen Embers win that out as well. So it's very much a very skill-dependent lane. But down the line, you do have stable hold for the Puck. You might argue, well, you don't really, right? Spike Carapace can only be up so much, but it's still really good to stop that orb play. Marcy is supposed to follow up, especially once the blink is up for Varish is going to be massive. And you can just keep them down that way. Execration are going all in the team fight, though, Mikey. Right? Arena, you've got the Spear back on the Dream Coil. You've got the Kisses on top of the Dream Coil. You've got Solar Guardian on top. It all sounds really great. It just doesn't feel like it's going to be an easy game to get those angles here.
No, I agree with you on that. We'll see what happens, though. Final bans to come out. Both teams requiring what appears to be a POS 1. Suppose you do have the chance of, like, POS 1 Dawnbreaker coming out, but probably more than likely a support hero here for Execration. I suppose you never know. Any particular position 1s you'd like to see for either team here, John? Anything kind of strike your eye?
I think AG could really go with Spell Immunity is always good against the Mars. Jug kind of fits in. Lifestealer could work. You've got the vehicle in the Nyx and Ember, even the Timbersaw, and even Marcy can be a good vehicle for Lifestealer. So that could be good. You could go for something like the DB Wraith King that we know he loves to play. Kind of fixes the issue of AG's push not looking amazing. So the Wraith King with his summons could have a really good game here. A lane matchup against Mars is a little bit tougher. That could give Execration an edge. I want to go kind of left field here, Mike. I would say something really long range, like a sniper save, could actually be really nice for AG. Because what jump do you have in Execration? You've got the Puck until Mars gets a blink up. And even with the blink, Sniper can just spam shrapnel around, play it a lot safer, cancel out blinks. Could be a really hard game to catch something like that in the backline if DB wants to go for something very different here.
That's fair. We'll see what route they do go down here. One more ban to go from Execration before we can see these drafts completed. I'm kind of wondering what Execration pick up on their end of things now as well. Like, the POS 1... Palos last game, he didn't really have a chance, to be quite frank with you. I mean, they were very reliant on Tino and Bob being able to just set the tempo of the game last game around, and that just did not happen. So you kind of wondered, do Execration want to go back to a greedier POS 1 that's going to need to farm forever, or do they want to get a little bit more aggressive per se? Well, we'll have to wait and see, because AG have their first pick before Execration make their last pick. What's it going to be? Razor. Alright.
Yeah, it's a safe laning choice. It kind of just counters whatever Execration might want to hit hard here on the safe lane as well. If they're looking for something that just wants to stick and farm. Faceless Void could still be a good fit, but they did ban that out in AG's end. They go to Slark. Ooh. So that is giving a decent enough lane for Execration. This is a little bit back and forth. We've seen Timbersaw versus Slark, and in theory, Slark has a good time, right? Because you can build up the Essence Shift, but in the laning phase, that really doesn't come out. It's not like you level up Essence Shift going for something like 1-1-3. You tend to go like a 3-1-1 build for farm. So Wami should still have a good time ripping through. The pounce is going to be annoying, but also not the worst thing in the world for Wami as long as they kind of play their distancing right. And again, Razor can work that matchup towards the late game up against this Lark before he gets his Dark Pact off. Just static link him, you're feeling good. Once you have a BKB, there's no threat for the spear back. And I think AG still has their bases covered. This could still be better for Execration though. And rather even in terms of drafts, I will lean towards AG just off the back of Norman's Nyx. I think this is just such an amazing Nyx game. It's not going to be easy for Execration to look for those team fights as long as Norman's positioning is proper. And it's still a big question of how you catch out Pota 2 because your hold is not amazing. Early on, Puck Silence is going to be big, Dream Coil is going to be nice. But once Pota 2 has at least one defensive item, probably an early BKB, blocking in the Ember just doesn't feel possible.
It's going to be tough, that's for sure. I still have my doubts about this Slark. I mean, I appreciate that you can stack and stack and stack because you're hitting Timbersaw, but is Wami going to care? It kind of makes you wonder. Like, probably not. He probably won't mind it too much. Let's see what happens, though. Game number 2, Execration, AG. Again, they don't really have much to play for, John. It's just all about bragging rights here and the rights to have an interview with us, which I'm sure neither team really wants, but, well, maybe that's why Execration looks so unlike Execration Game 1, John. Does the interview scaring them already?
It does, scare them away. But every time I talk to these players on Media Day, I'm like, hey, interviews, Media Day is easy, right? They're like, yeah, it is. And then when it comes, especially for the Div 1 teams, some of them actually ask me afterwards, why aren't you doing the post game? I'm like, I'm not doing post game. We don't do Media Day. It's please talk to me. Please, it's easier because I ask the dumbest stuff,
Right.
We're not very high IQ people here, Mike.
What about me, John?
Maybe
they mentioned me.
Yeah, you're high IQ. Well, no. I'm sorry.
Oh.
They don't mention.
Oh.
They do ask, who's that other guy? Where's the other John?
Oh, okay. I'll remember that for my next interview, John. All those easy questions are out the window for those Div 1 teams now. If we ever get to interview them, that is. Narman top lane, he could be in a spot of bother, but they won't try to make the dive into the Nyx Assassin yet. Instead, Execration, they're going to hold the high ground of that Radiant Triangle, really searching for an early first blood here against AG, but they all hug the mid-tier 1 tower, and they're just ready for it. They know that Execration has a pretty good level 1 timing. They want to fight right now, and AG, they are not going to give the opening quite yet. Thing is, you don't have the worst team fight in the world for AG either, level 1, but you'd have to argue Execration do look like the stronger team at this moment of the game, so you'd rather not try and fight if you can avoid it.
Yeah, you don't want to take that risk. They have a lot of good hold, but they're going to run up here to contest.
We'll try. Narman, he'll run the other way. So far, a 1 for 2. Nice cookie out onto Vincenzo. So Narman now, he's going to still go for that impale. He will get the banner in himself, but can he get his way out? He'll make a run for it, but Vincenzo has Celestial Hammer back up in 1. Should be able to land it for the slow. Narman, another impale in 6 seconds. We'll see how much time he can waste. Even Shanks has a cookie back up in 1 second. Does he throw it out though? Vincenzo not nearby enough. And Narman, I think he's actually duked them out here, John, as he's going to turn around for the impale. Oh, that's so dirty from Narman. How disgusting do you have to be?
Extra disgusting. He is playing that really creepy bug right now, Mike, and that's just going to stall out Shanks heading down bot, trying to help out in that lane. It's going to be a really good time for Varish right now, already getting some good harassment off onto Tino. No threatening for the spear back. And with no spear back, DB's free to just get max value from early static link. So just stalling out that Snapfire from playing the lane with Mars is super beneficial for AG. They're going to have a good time to at least build up into an earlier level 2 for DB. Shanks does show up in the end. Does still have the ward on hand. And Tino is not doing too bad in the lane. He's getting some denies. Not really able to gap close for the last hits because of threat of Varish. You do have to be cautious because even though you've got the spear back here on the Mars against Razor, the Marcy is a bit of a wild card factor. You have to rebound in. If Spear's already expended, dispose back, static link forever, you can't really stop that. And you can't really stop DB from just getting so much damage out.
That's a lot of damage out from Tino's. The plasma field going to fly through, and Shanks now really going to cop it. He already committed his cookie, so he might just be gone. DB able to secure the kill, and well, Tino, I mean, you commit the spear like that, you can't throw DB away from you, and he just took all the damage.
Yeah, and again, you're just tying in really aggressively with that Marcy. AG has been very effective at using that hero in the past game, and in this game as well, it's looking pretty good. And as long as you get that momentum going, this is going to be a quick Falcon Blade BKB sort of timing for DB, and
Dino?
once you've got that up, you can't really stop.
Rish, he actually did not get the dispose of. He was trying to, but maybe just outside of range, perhaps. Won't end up getting it. We'll have a look at the other lanes for now as well, John. Of course, mid lane, pot the 2 against Bob once again, and Bob this time around being much more aggressive on the puck. 12 and 4 in terms of CS, ahead of the Ember, and as you can tell, quite a lot of harassment being placed the way of the Ember Spirit. Bob's certainly not looking to have a repeat of Game 1, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's getting a lot more activity out. This is something the puck can do against the Ember. Good level lead for Bob, hitting forward just a little bit faster. And just not giving any openings for Pota2 to be aggressive. Pota2 still hasn't gotten any parts for his Orb of Corrosion though, and isn't anywhere near his phase boots. That tends to be that early timing for the Ember. So Bob's still fairly secure at that point. Rune control is super important for both sides though. And that's where I'd say you might have maybe a better time here in Execration. Your supports are good at rotating. So they might be able to ensure that Bob keeps getting his bottle topped up every single time.
Shanks bot lane, big trouble again. Varish, can he keep up? Not quite. Shanks is barely going to survive with some stick charges. Instead, Tino now going to cop quite a bit of harassment here from Varish and DB. Plasma Field actually going to land as well, but the cookie can allow Tino the time to get away as Varish is still going with the dispose, but now DB, he can go for a link out. Tino, has he gone too far? I think he may have, John. He hasn't got the damage output, and now Shanks, he's been left behind. He'll find the Razor, but he gets taken down himself, and Varish will happily deny himself off. Another win the way of AG down in this bot lane. And so far, just nothing working out here for Execration.
And you just love to see that aggression. You've got a Marcy, you've got a Razor. We've seen this lane before. I think we've seen NGX try this lane a couple of times. We didn't see the same level of play, and this is a Div 2 team running it really effectively. AG having a great time there. That gives an opportunity for the bottle top up for Pota 2 down mid, and also some Water Rune contestion. Bob.
Oh, Bob.
Is it safe?
Dropping rather low, though. Varish with a very nice rotation, but Bob is still able to secure the Water Runes over and over again. They'll at least get a D-Ward in that mid lane while they're there, and Pota 2 now, trying to get a little bit more aggressive against Bob. Continue chipping away at the puck's HP pool. John, we should have a talk about the top lane as well. I mean, we haven't really looked at it whatsoever, but Wami and Narman against Palos and Vincenzo here. In fact, hold that thought, because Bob is dropping low once again in the mid lane, but is going to be able to survive. Though quickly, John, talk to me about this top lane. How's this going?
It's actually going pretty decent for Wami. He's not being held back by Palos. Palos is also finding his initial farm, but he can't play aggressive with her Dawnbreaker plus Slark, just because of the threat of Narman already with a Spike Carapace. So all the spells of Dawnbreaker, wide AoE, you can kind of cancel off with the Nyx fairly well. And despite this even start for Palos, I worry that this is too much space for Wami. He's going to have a good timing on his first durability item. He's going to take over the lane. That's going to force Palos to go elsewhere. Slark, not the fastest jungler, although by the time you have Shadow Dance, that's kind of remedied. It's still not quite the fast farmer you'd want, and they're going to have to find some way for relieving some of that pressure up top as... Again, Wami, we know how he plays his Timp. He just goes crazy once he has level 6.
Look, he's going crazy right now, John. Palos in a big bit of trouble here is Palos. He's going to be alright to walk away. Wami actually ended up giving Narman away as Bob does rotate on the puck, and he just makes his way right back into the mid lane. So Narman will drop Bob. He'll be very happy with that. And Wami unable to really secure a kill. Keep in mind, he doesn't really have any points in the Whirling Death right now, John, so... not able to get that bonus kind of damage out he needed.
Yep, no, not able to really look for the kill, but still applying that pressure, forcing response towards top. That is a kill Bob needs, considering how slow his lane has been, at least in terms of kills. But look at Pota 2, immediately TPing top, has the regen on hand. They might get aggressive here in AG's end.
They're going to try Palos. He'll be chased down. Narman looking for a nice impale here onto the Slark, but Palos, he'll pounce away. So instead, they're forced to take Vincenzo. There's the Celestial Hammer available right now, trying to get to the high ground, but with the Spike Carapace, there is no running. And I mean, the Nyx is just such an annoying hero to have to play against as Dawnbreaker. You can't do anything against this hero. He just completely counters you.
It really is. It's one of the better counters until Dawnbreaker gets BKB, but this is a pause. 5 Dawnbreaker. BKB timing isn't going to look that fast here for Vincenzo, so it's going to be a slower pace for him. They are rotating Bob once more to punish Wami here, though.
They're going to try Bob. Does have coil up. Could lock him down if he really wants, but Wami is still very tanky. He'll tank through the coil snap, and now a 3-man impale. Wami's still going to drop, however. Palos, he had the Dark Pack going here on the Slark, and that was enough to make sure he could get the damage out. Very nice attempt, though, from Narman. It's now Bob. It's a pot to 2 once again. But he'll go for a fight back, but he hasn't got chains up right now. They'll land the cookie. Vincenzo's going to show up, but a very nice slide into a remnant, but he still gets hit. Very nice rotation, and Bob immediately handing out the tip.
Yeah, trying to play on edge, trying to get that last dodge out. Doesn't respect the stuns coming through from Vincenzo. A great double stun from Narman while de-warding, but still a big kill for Portatooth to find. His rotations are allowing to catch up. They are stacking their bot lane hard, though, every time they leave that Mars alone. I mean, again, Spearback's a good solution to Razor, but it doesn't feel like it's enough when you've got Marcy to help out.
That certainly doesn't, John. It feels like DB could just keep going every single time, Spear or not. Still 5-5 now. Still a very even game between these two teams. I think Execration done a very good job of getting through the storm of the laning phases. Mid lane, Varish going to try and move in onto Shanks, but they do take him out. Shanks going to go for a TP away, but the Impale is going to land, and Potta2 will be able to take his kill on the Embers. Bob is actually going to rotate down towards the bot lane with the haste rune up. He does have Dream Coil available. DP, though, not the easiest kill in the world, and Bob, without the vision, won't bother even trying.
And they had a great defensive ward from AG, so DB already started to walk away from that lane. A courier snipe from Bob kind of revealed that to DB also, as well, so they get to regroup. Have some time to bottle refill onto Potta2 with Varish spawning back in, and they could get aggressive here if Bob's not careful.
Impale's not going to land, but Varish, he's in with the dispose out. Bob in big trouble trying to run, but there's no way out of this. Even for the puck, right, like you try to orb, but if Narman's there with the Spike Carapace, you're not going to be able to jaunt over.
And that's why it's such a great Nyx pick, Mike. That fourth pick Nyx for AG, just paying off dividends. Narman already off to a great start, working towards the Blink Dagger here. So just going to be able to get in position to look for those big impales out. And it is a little bit of a slower pace this game, though. Like, a lot of kills for AG, but not much progression on the objectives. Big difference from their Game 1 draft. So you do have a lot of breathing room here for Execration to actually play the slower game. Paulus is still farming. The number 1 in that word, feeling good on that Slark,
DB.
going for the Diffusal build-up.
Have Arena here. Tumbler's toy is up, DB. This neutral item is so busted, man. Like, this Tumbler's toy, it's just not fair. Mid lane, meanwhile, we're trying to make a jump with the Shanks, but he's going to be just fine. There you go, though. Varish, rebound. Not going to connect the way he wanted, but a chains does land onto Bob. He'll be forced to orb away from this, I think. In fact, he does stick around trying to go for that power rune, and Potta2 not going to be able to close the gap to take it himself. Meanwhile, top lane, Palos, getting rather low, but he's just farming right now. He's not in any kind of danger on the Slark, and as we're speaking of Palos, he's top of the net worth board right now, John, having a very strong start.
Yeah, just managing to get some free space. Those kills helping out in the lane that was rather even for Wami. And you know, you're building up in your win condition. Again, once Diffusal's up for Palos, should feel a lot easier for the Slug to just show up, get that inhibit off, start to get some stacks up on the Essence Shift, and look for that aggression. The side of AG has to be a bit cautious about that. Smoke out from Execration now, looking for an angle.
Smoke's going to be broken by Varish, though. Not a great smoke at all for Execration. In fact, they've lost Tino. Tino's already gone. Spike Carapace is out. That'll be your snap by. Kiss is gone. Bob still trying to go in, but it's 3 versus 2. It's just not the way you want to smoke. Like, you break the smoke on the puck anyway. And on top of that, they found a Mars kill first.
Oh, Potta.
Yeah, mid lane, Potta, gonna be in big trouble. They will take him down. They do at least find something in the end, and it's a very valuable kill onto the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, they punish him for being alone. They know there are no TPs on AG to back that up. AG still has the opportunity to play bot, and you are giving Wami a lot of room up top, working towards his ults for at least a self-dispel from the silence. So you still have some build-up from AG. You worry about the Ember kind of falling behind here. Behind now in terms of Bob's net worth, right above Tino, who's bottom net worth 4. And with the space given to Bob, he's just shoving in mid. He's got the siege creep, and there is the TP respawn on Potta2, but no backup for him on this kill.
Bob's gonna be just fine to walk away and He might even orb back in to go after that mid-tier 1, but jump in from Potter. He saw the orb being committed. Bob, he's overextended and might just drop here. But you got the tier 1 mid-tower, but that orb maybe just a little bit unnecessary from Bob, and Potter too immediately seeing the opening and punishes.
Just the support's collapsing at the right moment. Once more, Varish and Norman showing up to secure that kill. Level 6 now up on Norman. Inching closer and closer towards that blink, and with that Vendetta up, they've got a lot of opportunity to be aggressive. They managed to catch up Wami, but it's too tanky.
You got Diffusal Blade up now on Palos, so he does have some utility. Problem is Narman's around the area and wants to try and snipe him. Palos, though, should know he's being watched if he does go to that high ground, but Narman might still be able to set up perfectly. Palos is going to run right into him. Dark Pact is there. Let's go into the Shadow Dance as well. They do chase him down. Palos still somehow surviving as Narman trying to catch up, but now he's out of position. Spear out is going to connect. He does have a Spike Carapace, but in the end, Narman is going to drop here, and I'll be happy on the side of Execration to take that kill. Palos is very quick with the fingers on the Dark Pact, making sure they could not finish the job off.
Yeah, it drags a lot of tension from AG to kind of come in. You're kind of losing out in farm still on Porta 2, and Execration get the start for their own smoke play. Blink up on Tino, Blink Arena ready to go, Mike.
Where are they headed? Mid lane? Bob is being targeted right now. Solar Guardian is going to be there. Into a Dream Coil, and well, Potter, he's gone, and so is Varish. Nice bait from Bob in the mid lane. Immediately punishing. Side of AG is now DB's in trouble. Completely out of mana. Wami, he is going to join in and try to help out as Palos maybe overextending himself, and looks like he might just drop. Cookie, it's going to land in time. DB is going to drop on Wami. He has no tree line to go to. Oh, Palos barely escaping. Still Wami. He'll fight back a little bit more, but it seems like Tino's waiting very patiently for another spear out. Though, has he gone a bit too far? TPs are immediate. They won't lead to much, though. AG kind of backs against the wall now as Execration really starting to hit their timing.
They're starting to play around these spikes really well in Execration. They know the Slurk can be really aggressive just with the Diffusal up, and they're using that presence out that they have on Execration's end that AG doesn't. They don't quite have the BKB just yet on DB. Even after the BKB, it does feel like DB's going to want a little bit more durability to be able to handle that Slurk. And you're losing that speed that Pota 2 had earlier on, because he's just going for the BKB as well. So Spell Immunity is going to be king for AG. Until that point, Execration's got a lot of room to just play around. Their teamfight spells are massive. We talked about that combination in the draft, but Dream Coil, Solar Guardian, Arena Solar Guardian, all of these are huge. And whenever Narman's dead, you don't have that counter on hand anymore. There's no way to stop that teamfight.
Mid lane, Tino might try to set up. What the two? Show up, Remnants forward, looking for a chains out on Tino, and has found them. And Tino just very far forward. Yeah, keeping in mind, he really only just has a blink up. Like, he is not tanky whatsoever on this Mars. He's just getting taken down once again here.
It's a really nice big kill for AG, kind of compensating for their earlier losses. They're buying a lot of space out for the Razor to kind of finally get that BKB up. So you've got one source of spell immunity already up. Yulet's already up in Wami as well, although... Can
they actually take this man down? The Timber, he's still very tanky, though the Pounds really making it hard. And in fact, they do take him out. Narman could not get there in time. Palos now going to move right in onto the Nyx Assassin to find another. It's Bob actually getting taken down by Varishia on the Marcy. This is a +5 Marcy we're looking at, but eventually Bob does orb his way out. They'll find a third kill on the side of Execration. They can move right into that bottom tier 1 tower.
And they got a good threat on mid as well. Tino TPs in, gets the arena, forces that first BKB charge out. Oh,
they found Potter. He has a refresher, or rather a refresh regen rune, but he's been taken out. Spear is going to land Tino. He might get taken down for this, but it's a very worthwhile trade for him. It's DB. He'll secure the kill on the Mars. So this Ember, I mean, unlike last game, John, it's a very rough time for Potter 2.
Yeah, still hanging out there in the lower half of the port graph. Not quite getting the build-up he'd want. Desperately needs that BKB to kind of get a good counter onto the puck. And for AG, well, Narman.
How did he get that jump?
Just blink up. Spike Carapace on the orb, Impale out, and the damage was there from DB as well with Plasma Field. I mean, he's hitting that spike on Norman. I mean, with the blink, the Nyx can be a lot more aggressive down bot though.
Yeah, they're going to try after the Timbersaw. Wami trying to tank through it. Palos going to move in onto Varish, but the dispose is there. Still Varish, has he gone too far? Impale does land. They've got Palos. That's a big one. Varish, he might eventually drop, but that's just the Pos 5 Marcy. They will at least get the Dawnbreaker out, but Shanks TP up in 1 second, just trying to be very patient with this as Shanks will go back down to the low ground, but Narman is right behind him, holding onto that Impale just in case the TP comes out. They will not waste the Impale until they know they've got the kill, and they'll take it. So finally Palos does get punished for diving a little bit too deep onto Wami. He does have to be a little bit wary of that, John, because you look at this Razor. DB is farming very, very well right now.
Yeah, number 1 on the board, going into that refresh. That's the point where the Razor just feels pretty oppressive to play against. Double Eye of the Storm, double Static Link early on is just massive. You have a lot of good heroes to steal damage from as well. DB being forward here.
He's going to try after Vincenzo. It does take a lot of damage away, and seems like that's going to be more than enough for him. It's working right on towards that Refresher Orb, and once you have that, things get very fun for the Razor. Let's keep working on towards it. Execration, again, it felt like they had a very good timing going for themselves, but you are still playing Pos 1 Slark. You've got to be a little bit cautious. You don't want to dive too deep.
Yeah. You need to watch that distance. You have a lot of wide AoE from RMGenesis. Again, the Timbersaw actually handles his Shadow Dance really well, just with all of the AoE damage you have on hand from Wami. Even down the line, that Flamethrower is going to be really good if he does manage to get the gold for the shards. And Wami's basically just holding bot solo, allowing AG to play up top, clearing out that top jungle, getting a little bit of pressure onto that tier 2 Wami though.
Tino's in. Wami does get caught, but the Yule Scepter is going to be there in time. So Execration diving in, but that's a lot of damage being dealt. Wami setting up perfectly as now they've got Vincenzo down. They're all trapped in their own arena right now as Bob, he drops. Tino's gone to boot. Palos, he's not getting it either. Oh, they dived the Timber, John. He got like a 3-4-man whirling death into a chains, into a chakram. And their HP pools, they just went minus 50%. There's Narman. It's a full team wipe.
Oh man, they're just on point. And again, this is the big difference with AG's draft. They can just solo a lane with Wami. If the overcommittal is there, you just instantly TP in, get the cancellations off with your Nyx Assassin, and suddenly Execration, without that team fight aspect, without that Solar Guardian running on top, without the kisses flying through, it falls flat. You lack the hold for the Ember, especially as Pota2 does have the full BKB up now, wasn't there in the last fight. So even more trouble to come here for Execration. Not a big lead for AG though. It's not exactly doom and gloom, only a 2k lead, but it does feel like once AG hits that stride, it can be very hard to work against, because the Nyx just has such a free game. I think you're going to have to get a couple of BKBs up. Puck BKB is not something we see too often, though, so I don't expect Bob to have that. But Tino is saving up towards his. Still lacking the recipe here, Mike. Without that BKB on at least one hero to kind of frontline, it does get hard to get the control and damage off in the middle of these engagements.
Here we go again, Varish. Trying to find a rebound into that triangle. Instead, Wami will make his way over, and Execration really just don't want to deal with the Timber as mid lane. Palos being caught, and he's blown up. All remnants committed here from Pota2. That's a big one. John, you and I know very well, with these Pos 1 Slarks, you die a couple times like this, you start to feel like you're not really a carry anymore.
Yeah, it scales, but it scales through snowball. You know, you got to get some early stacks of your permanent agi up. You got to use those early durability spikes you have. The Shadow Dance, and Palos isn't able to really work himself in the middle of these fights. You just have such wide AoE damage, AoE control from AG to punish. And Palos is trying to work onto the Ags, so you will have that double pounce, longer range as well. Gonna feel good to hold down the Ember. That could be one really good way of handling that, but just...
Op's not safe here, John. No way to blink out of this. He'll try to orb towards the north and just try to hide in the tree line, but Wami, he's an expert at cutting trees here. He'll cut them down. Bob is scouted out in the phase shift. Gonna orb back down towards the south. Remnants forward, but this time he does have a blink up. Can they go for a blind chains? Not quite in time. Nice juke away from Bob. The rest of AG still hunting, though. Down in the mid lane, Shanks has been spotted out here, and Narman, he'll make a jump in. Actually landing the Impale into a dispose, but no. Solar Guardian was there. It was cancelled, though, as Tino gonna move in now onto Varish. They at least want the Mars. In fact, they found both of them. Narman drops the boot, but DB, he's going right in. He wants the Mars at least, and he'll find the Mars, it seems. As Tino cannot tank through. Oh, Bob. Oh my god, that's a lot of damage. Wami just almost deleting the puck.
Gets his refresh out as well. No, Bob.
Going very deep. Chains are there. Remnants forward. Bob, he's still alive, but just barely. As they cookie him out, he'll jaunt the other way. The juke's out from Bob, somehow making it away. But they're still losing quite a few bodies here, Execration. It's not, these aren't great trades.
They definitely aren't, Mike. They do manage to force that first refresh use from DB, so a bit of a longer cooldown onto the next double BKB, double static link, and Eye of the Storm. But they find some good kills for their efforts. Still, again, despite all these losses Execration are taking, they are only 2k behind. So this is still a fairly playable position, not the easiest position in the world, considering how the map is working. Look at all the wards from AG. Look at how much forward vision they have on that lower area, right next to the high ground, onto that top jungle. They have a lot of angles to take for the next rush if they want it as well.
Bob going to be able to escape once again here. Yukin jiving his way through this game number 2 on the puck. AG still in control of this game number 2 though. 2k net worth lead their way, 22-19, and only problem for AG right now is they don't have the greatest Roshan lineup, I feel. Otherwise, you would have almost certainly just jumped into the Roshan pit and taken it, but with how long it's going to take them to go after Roshan, it seems like they'd rather just kind of wait it out a little bit, really make sure this race is ready to go.
Varish.
Bot lane, Varish is going to drop. Bob setting up a decent kill for his team. Palos, he'll get right onto that tier 2 bottom tower.
Yeah, they can go for the push play now, fortify forced out. And that also gives AG a little bit of room to poke and prod up top. Again, push isn't the quickest thing in the world here for AG. So Execration does find a nice objective for themselves to take. Start to control that bot jungle a little bit more. Once Palos can get on top of that tower. Oh.
Here we go again, John. Bob this time with an Invis rune. Do they have detection? It doesn't seem like they will. Bob's going to be just fine to stand here by the tier 2 and they can't do much about it. No one's got a dust or sentries, it seems, around them. The only one being Varish, but he's all the way in the mid lane. Not going to make it in time, so they'll go for a team fight. It seems as Tino is going to find Wami. He'll BKB up and try to go after DB, but DB, he'll get his BKB off in time as well. Tino is still going to be fine as Palos will make his jump in, but he's going to be very cautious here. Potter 2 will hold him down with the chains out, and the remnants of the Solar Guardian is going to make it out. Meanwhile, Tino still dropping 2 down low, but they get an arm at the least as the Mars is going to go down. Vincenzo, he won't make it out either. Chains is just there in time. So a 2-for-1 trade. The only person to go down here for AG is Narman. It's still a very nice trade going the way of AG, but Wami now going to be jumped by Palos. They do have, well, they don't have Shadow Dance available, but Wami still dropping rather low. Should be able to chains away, but no, a nice stream coil to hold him down. So it seems like DB wants to keep this fight going, but he's dropping rather low. Varish, he went in, but he was kind of a bit too quick as Shanks might eventually drop and does. But in comes Palos once again, stealing all the stats away, taking down Potter 2 it seems, and now DB might be a bit of a sitting duck. He'll try for a BKB TP out in time. In fact, he found Bob! What? He found Bob with the Eye of the Storm. Oh, what do you say about that, John?
It's just so awkward, you know? I mean, he gets a refresh off, BKB TP home, still finds a decent puck kill. Execration still finds a better trade. Narman playing tag by himself.
It's one of those things you can do as Nyx, right? Just, I'm gonna go burn your mana. There you go. Enjoy, Palos. No, I mean, they know there's a ward there now at least, but it's whatever. You burn his mana. Feels good.
You're pretty happy enough. There is pretty good timing coming out. I believe Palos has gotten his Ag Shard. So you do have the Depth Shroud, which might help prolong these fights. Again, I don't know if that's enough considering you got a Timbersaw here and a Nyx. Tino
He's an architect.
takes an opportunity.
He's an architect, John. building some nice structures here in the mid lane. I thought it was getting a little bit lonely here. Looks nice.
Did look good. Unfortunately, damages the environment, but what can you do, Mike? The trees grow back, no problem.
Sadly, it didn't damage any heroes, John. I think that was the real issue here for Tino. It's Palos. He's going to keep pushing in that bot tier 3 tower, it seems, but I highly doubt they try for high ground yet. Definitely not in a position to feel that confident here for Palos. Top lane, though, they might be able to force a fight because Narman. Bob going to blink right into Wami. They want to start with the Timber Saw. And they go. Spear away, but it's not going to break the coil either. So Wami is still perfectly fine to chain his way out. It's not landing the combinations they really wanted. And with that Execration, back to the drawing board. But the mid and bot lane are both pushed out. So Palos, he can really start pressuring the tier 3 bottom tower and just force back the side of AG if he really wants to.
Yeah, they've got to find a response to that split push. Execration, no?
Quick BKB again from DB. It's way too quick on the reaction timing there. And Tino, another arena down the toilet here, but at least, you know, BKB's down, so maybe they can force the fight. Chains out, Hotta. Gonna hold down the Slark, and that'll be enough to force them back.
Just tempered aggression out. Smoke out here from AG though, Mikey. Could find the angle.
They could. They want Bob on the puck, but Bob seems to be just fine. Keep in mind, Potter 2, he has a Desolator up now, so a lot more damage coming up from the Ember as Shanks. Not quite the kill you'd want. In fact, he's going to blink away anyway. So is Palos, but the chains. Oh, he made it just in time. Shanks, I think he kind of screwed up there, John. He led them right to the better target. You may as well have just tanked the gank.
Yeah, they probably would have been happier with a sacrifice. AG, of course, not going to be wondering the same things here, Mike. Going to be very happy with that pickup. And just, you know, another kill under the belt. They managed to finish up DB's Butterfly. Along with that Elven Tunic, this guy has a decent amount of evasion, 46%. Cuts off the Slark's DPS in a huge way. Almost half his damage is just going to be missing. I'll give a lot more to the Razor in the front line here. And Execration, they just don't have good ways to answer. If we are seeing Palos go back for the BKB now, it just feels a bit late. You know, he needed that earlier on to just run in, Shadow Dance BKB, get some kills, keep hitting and running in. But we're at 29 minutes in. A fresh BKB can still be nice, but again, it's just not that point where the Slark snowballs hard now. You're severely behind in comparison to the Razor. The wide AoE control of AG is always going to be great. Although, again,
Bob.
BKB's cut that off. Narman.
Nice attempt from Narman. Bob, still gonna... Oh, no, never mind. Chains are there. Lock him down. Take him out. Wow, AG. Really making sure Bob goes down. And these are big pickoffs for Army Geniuses. Top lane. The DB is alone, but he's still got BKB Refresher up. And like you mentioned, John, with all the evasion available right now on the Razor, it's not going to be that easy for Palos.
Yeah, he just doesn't have a break mechanic on hand. Didn't go for something like the Silver Edge build-up, so you know, you're going to have to cop it. And jump onto the Razor. You might even just die out to the Eye of the Storm as we saw Bob did. Still smoke out from Execration here, looking for openings.
Wami, he's just not an easy target on the Timber. Like, you kind of want to start with Wami because he's a real nuisance, but at the same time you don't because he just takes too long to die, and it only gets worse now because he's got that damn Cloak of Flames up now on the Timber. Into the Roshan. It seems like AG finally ready to try and attempt this. Again, it's not the fastest process, but with the side kick out from Varish, it does make it a little bit easier. They do scan out on Execration's end, but it doesn't really seem like they can force this fight. So the Aegis will go the way of DB. Execration, they've got to find another way to really force the fight and keep this game going.
I think right now they're just looking to get build up, looking to get farm. Bob going for the Aeon. This could be the big one they need. Break off that initiation from Norman. Allow a turnaround situation for the side of Execration to play with. And just go from there.
Whoa, Wami. Gonna be just fine. Not even flinching there to Tino. And Tino trying so hard to get these spearbacks into towers onto this Timber Sword. Trying to burst them down, but I mean, Wami, if he's really concerned, he's got a BKB up anyway. It's not too scary for him right now. Scarier for the side of Execration as they will find Narman. Coil committed. Narman has the Spike Carapace if need be. Also has the Yule Scepter, and that's a very nice impale. Still, Wami is kind of alone in all this. They'll buy back on Narman and Execration. That'll be cute for them to back the hell out, but a great chain's out. Potter landing on both. They'll find Shanks with the Snapfire. Tino, he'll be forced to BKB and run the old-fashioned way, but it's not looking too good for him. He's still being chased down, still trying to run, but can he make it out? It doesn't seem like it. Even Vincenzo going down on the Dawnbreaker. That's a 3-for-1. Sure, Narman buys back, but who the hell cares? In fact, they might even find a fourth. Bob's going to go for a run. Try to push the top wave out the best he can. But look who's coming, John. Narman's on the way. Spike Carapace is going to land, but can he find the puck? It doesn't seem like it. Problem is, Bob will stick around and continue clearing out these creep waves.
They've already got the angle onto the high ground. Fortify forced out to clear out the creep wave. Still enough time to rip through before backdoor kicks back in. Tier 3 into the racks. No ags up on BB, so not like the ridiculous push, but they're going to find a full set for themselves despite that creep cutting from Bob. Nice advantage for Army Genius to have.
Not popping the BKB yet. He does still have that Aegis up, so they'll try to burst down the first life, but he's still a very tanky boy right now. He'll just stand his ground in the coil. Looks like he almost wants to go for a fight. He'll break the coil eventually. The orb, it will find that first life, but now Palos, he's been caught again and taken down by Narman. In they go. This is the team fight they wanted. Onto Tino. That'll be your mask gone. They find Narman, but what does it matter? It's a 3-for-1 once again. They do commit the buyback on Shanks, but the Rax is already gone. I don't think AG are going to stick around anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they got the dieback on Norman, so at least, you know, you didn't have to worry about Spike Carapace kicking in on these next fights, but AG have nothing to play for up top. They could swing around mid, again, without the Nyx. The threat of team fight from Execration is pretty high. And they'll just play it safe. They pop Aegis, sacrifice the Nyx Assassin, not the biggest things to lose out on. And I love this build-up on DB. He's going for a Hex, Mike. Sheepstick coming out on the Razor, control for the puck, control for basically everyone. Even the Slark wouldn't enjoy that. Gonna be a great pickup for a DB, and he already has it.
Bob. Move in onto the Ember now. Double damage rune is active, so Potter 2 is copying quite a bit of damage, but does BKB up in the end. No chains to lock anyone down, but in they go with the dispose out. They found Bob on the puck into the side. The Vice. Can he survive through it? The Solar Guardian. It's not going to be enough. Vincenzo, he'll be joining his fallen teammate. And I can probably say the same for Shanks here, John, as he does get chased down by DB, slowed up by the plasma field. At least the spear is there from Tino. Buyback's being committed. They want something for their trouble. DB, he's still finding kills while he's stunned up, but eventually they will find him. There's Wami, gonna BKB up, turn right back onto Palos, just man fighting the Slark. Palos will pop the depth shroud, try to protect himself. Potter 2 will hold him back as they're thinking about going back onto Bob. Here comes Narman. Cancelled off Wami. I think he's baiting here, John. Narman, he does get the Spike Carapace onto the puck. Palos pops his BKB onto Potter 2. He goes, but Potter is still fine as the puck. Also playing around, still chasing down Wami. As Narman chases him down, Bob still trying after this Timbersaw. Wami eventually going to drop as Potter. He'll go for a run. Meanwhile, Narman in a bit of trouble here. Potter in even more trouble as Bob eventually going to find the kill, and I think this Nyx Assassin is set to fall as Narman left alone. That's going to be a full team wipe the way of Execration. How does that happen, John?
AG gets a bit keen. You know, they start running in one by one, giving openings to Execration to play with that staggered sort of funneling in from AG. Find themselves some nice set of kills. They could start to open up that bot set of racks and the tier 3. Creep wave starting to come in. Not the best wave clear here, just from Varish. Gonna need some help. Respawns are a little bit longer, so that should be an objective for Palos to take. Possibly into at least one set of racks. Has the double siege creep wave here to help out. So, Execration find an opening. They keep themselves in this game. 6k lead still stands for Army Geniuses, but they have to respect a Slark in a long fight. You know, he builds up the Essence Shift stacks. He just dances around. The pounces are annoying, although...
Suppose, can they get this side the Vice? They can.
Oh boy.
Solar Guardian, it's going to help out, though the Slark is not dying quite yet. The evasion really kicking in from Vincenzo. And Palos able to survive through this because of it. And maybe now they can force a buyback out of this Marcy. Why the hell not?
You at least have Narman back once more on the mix. So you have some ways of cutting off that team fight. And this evens out the game like. It's almost the same situation, only the opposite top and bot lanes kind of open up with tier 1s to defend. You're down one set of racks, your mid tier 3 still stands on both sides. They've equalized the game on Execration's end, and it's a matter of scaling. In terms of scaling, both sides scale fairly similarly. I think there is a bit of a drop off for both the Slark and the Razor, but it does feel like it boils into those team fights, and you're already level 27 on Bob. Dreamcoil piercing through BKBs is big. AG doesn't have anything that pierces through BKBs themselves unless someone goes for a Basher. I don't quite see that coming out from anyone else here. And I think the next step is maybe Narman with Ags. He is going for a 4-staff into a Hex himself, along with the Aeon Disc. A lot more farm. Narman's going to have to hit those item spikes. But if they do manage to find the Ags on Nyx instead, I think the high ground hold is going to be really strong. The team fight plays with Blink Burrow in is going to be huge as well. It just feels like right now, considering that spell immunity pierce on the puck, it does feel like it's easier for Execration to play these 5v5s now.
Absolutely. Gonna be a smoke-on-smoke situation between these two teams. AG gonna head up towards the top lane, but Execration, they will be around. Nice scan out. They know exactly where AG are right now. The immediate back off here, knowing the smoke is there, but Narman, Yulceptor is out into the Impale, landing perfectly, but Bob, he has the Aeon Disc. Can he jaunt away? He can for now, but the chase is on. Potter gonna chain him up. Tino, he'll try to save the day just in time as the Solar Guardian is out as well, but Potter still in the chase. He does eventually find Bob. They've got the puck down. Meanwhile, Execration trying to push in all the other lanes and make sure there can't be a high ground push to come, as Bob does not have buyback for 2 minutes. Big issues here though. Narman looking for a few more pickoffs, does actually find Shanks in the Snapfire, and that should be another dieback, I believe, to come. So he's gone for 75, but in comes Palos, trying to get something for his trouble. Nice pushback from the Nyx Assassin, but eventually they'll find Narman. Palos, how much can you get done? Stun him up once, stun him up a second time. Yulceptor's there, but Potter is still fine as Palos. He can't get the job done. Meanwhile, Varish might be able to blink in and find a dispose, but doesn't bother trying. They want to address the waves and maybe just try to force high ground. But Palos, he's still trying to force the fight. Keep in mind, he's getting a lot of Essence shift stacks out of all this, but he's at the risk of his own life. He's going to be very cautious.
And at the very least here for Execration, they do have the bot lane just shoving in. No one's around from AG to kind of address that. They're looking for that aggression towards mid, trying to get that push going. You still have a decent hold here from Execration. Arena's still ready to go on Tino. No refresh though, so no double spear, no double arena. You still have the double usage from DB.
I thought Potter was going to at least clear out the creep wave in the base before he remembered it back, but he kind of just left it. Fair enough. They just really want that high ground, and with the Desolator from Potter, it certainly helps out on the towers. Tino, jump in, catches nobody though. Palos, he'll jump in as well, but Potter, he's got the BKB up, so Palos is going to fight the old-fashioned way, but Potter, he's stuck around too long. He will eventually drop his now. They can go for a bit more here, Execration. They'll find Varish as well. Nice sight device though onto the Slug with the 4-staff. Is going to save the day's DB. Still trying, blinks up, finds the Slug. That's going to be no buyback available on the Slug as Tino. He's got no buyback either. But AG, do they know? It's only gold that's missing here for Palos. AG are going to back off and maybe force Roshan with a double damage instead.
Yeah, just go for the safe play. Go for the Roshan. Their bot lane still needs addressing. No one's around to really do that. Narman has to scout around for the Rosh. So Execration still finding a little decent chip damage onto the tier 4s, but Rosh not going to be something they can contest. Second Roshan going the way of Army Genesis. Free Shard coming out here. This time around should be given to Wami for the flamethrower on the high ground push. Maybe give it to DB, but they actually give it to DB. All right, Storm Surge is up. We haven't seen that for a while. You know, old passive of Razor in play. Still very nice, and the slow can be pretty good in these long fights, especially as the BKBs fade. So we'll see how much of a difference it makes. But again, secondary life is going to be big. They did give the Aegis to Wami. So the Timbersaw is going to be the one living through. I don't know about that one.
Look at this John Narman. He's setting up everything here for the team, but Shanks does force staff away, and I do agree with you. I'm not sure what the idea of giving Wommy the Aegis is of all things. Like, sure, you want the Timber to survive through everything, but I'm not sure. Maybe they just feel like they need a frontlining hero that can just kind of stand there and give the vision onto the tier 3 towers. It does just feel like DB would have been better off just putting the treads in the backpack and holding the Aegis, but it seems like he doesn't want to do it that way.
Yeah, my one concern for Wami with Aegis is that, you know, when Timbersaw respawns, you have 0 armor with your active anyway.
Right.
So you're still going to melt the physical output. You might be able to BKB Yules, get a little play like that. Whether or not that's going to be effective enough is a different question. And Execration still have a lot of fight left in them. Despite being 6k behind, 7k behind, they are going for smokes. They are still hitting really hard on Palace, and they're on the hunt right now.
They've got another site device though on AG, John. They've also smoked up, so now multiple site devices available. It's going to be a very bad timing for Execration. They're going to be fighting right into it. Potter, he's going to bait for the team. Spear is going to be there, but immediately to jump in onto Tino. Refresh, another great spear out, another arena. Maybe Tino, he might have set up a great team fight, or has he? He'll try to TP out with the BKB and barely makes it in time. As the buybacks were immediate from AG, but Execration, they back their way out. Though not Palos. Palos will keep going. On his own, he'll try to get this team fight going once again. He will pop the Shadow Dance and run, but Wami is going to be right behind with the Chakram to slow him down, and now Narman going to block the way. Spike Carapace out into the site device. Palos, he still doesn't have buyback.
Yeah, that's getting a bit dicey. You do have Bob at least shoving in the waves, so there's no angle for the high ground here. Or Arm Gene says no creep wave even closer to high ground. They might find some punishment on Bob though.
Oh, he's been right in. DB, he's going to find it. Site device, refresh into another site if they want it. They just don't need it. And in we go. At least Bob does have buyback available and has the gold for it. It's still going to be a bit rough for him though. You definitely don't want to commit it here if you can avoid it.
Yeah, and you might have to. The push is going to come out now.
Dino,
although
if they can find a kill onto this Ember, that'll be a dieback on Potter too, but he's going to BKB run. Coil will not lock him down. Bob will still try to get to work on Wami, but keep in mind, he does have Aegis up and he has his own site device up. So Bob has to play very carefully. Though he does have the Aeon Disc back up and available, so maybe he can afford to play a little bit risky here. Meanwhile, Palos, he does now have enough gold for buyback on the Slark. But it looks like, considering they have those tier 1 towers bot lane, they want to hold out. And Tino will make a jump in to slow everything down. Barish gonna make the jump in as well. Onto Bob looking for a dieback, but there is the Aeon Disc being procced as now Tino. He's the target here of DB and Vincenzo. He came in with the Solar Guardian, but he might just die. Palos is still not buying back. He is holding out, but now Bob's been caught out.
oh no.
At what point do you buy back? All right.
He's just going to spawn up now, Mike. We'll see if the two of them can get something done, but it's 2 against 5.
They're onto tier 4 towers, John. They know it's a 5v2. You save buyback, but how do you defend now? Well, Palos, he's going to show us how in just a moment. He'll make the jump in. He'll try onto the Ember as Potter is getting rather low, but still continues to run away with the Sleight of Fist charges. Meanwhile, Palos already popping the Depth Shroud and the Shadow Dance, but has to back off as they've lost Shax again. AG, I believe they've got this one in the bag now, John. Barish having a look around for a bit more. Palos, he'll move in onto the Marcy, but he is literally 1v5ing. There's just no way. AG, they would have to dive the fountain to lose this game. There is no way you lose. It's Palos. He knows. What are you meant to do? Barish, he'll dispose him back, and there you go. GG.
Yeah. Army Geniuses to get the work done. Again, this match, it has no weight. Execration still going to Div 1 regardless. They do go 6-1 tied in with Lulgun, but they win that head-to-head. Army Geniuses a solid 3rd place, going 5-2 now. And just showing us that why they are 5-2. They can still take games off of some of these top Div 2 teams. Biggest issue for AG, I think we've seen in this tour, Mike, has been consistency. They're a bit up and down sometimes, but you see here today, they play with a stand-in on Pota 2. They still managed to play really well despite Uzura not being there, and they put a really strong fight up against Execration. They had great ideas in the draft. I think Game 1 draft was really different from what we expected. Game 2, maybe a little bit more bog standard with a Wami Timbersaw, DB Razor, all important plan, along with the Norman, Nyx being really good as well. And for Execration, there were shining moments there, right? The team fight was coming through there, Mike. The Solar Guardian, along with the Arena, the Dream Coil was great. At some point, though, once the execution of all of that falls flat for Execration, AG can just run around and do what they want. Like, he still had no clear answers for the Ember. DB was just a great foil for Palos, just static link him when he wants to hit you. Slark's not going to have a good time.
Yep.
And the Hex build up from AG to multiple Hexes just made it so easy to hold down those slippery heroes like the Puck, like the Slark, and just punish them.
Absolutely. It was a really just fantastic performance here from AG, and for Execration, like you said, they don't really care too much, right? Like, nothing's on the line here. They're making it to Div 1. It's whatever to them. They lost the game, whatever. At least AG feel a bit better about themselves, I suppose, going after two or three and into the next season. And speaking of AG, Jonathan, I am waiting for an interview. Of course, this is the real challenge here for Army Geniuses now, as we'll see if they're ready for this one. Nobody's showing up quite yet, but I can only guess who we get. Like, what do you expect Wommy perhaps to show up here? Like, Narman maybe?
Nah,
No?
they usually have Rish tank the interviews every time. Every single time they just let Rifki come in and have him tank the gank for the team as he is the captain.
Right.
But we'll see. I would love to talk to Evan. Wami feels like he'd be fun. He'd probably just come in here and trash talk me, as he tends to do. Talk about ping pong again, as he loves. Or I believe, I was having a conversation with Norman in the lobby. I was asking him if he's fully Indonesian now after 3 tours. He was like, not yet. I can't kick away the Filipino inside me now. So poor old Norman, he's just been around Southeast Asia, man. He's everywhere now.
What do you do? He's Mr. Worldwide, or Mr. Southeast Asia. Still no interview showing up yet. We'll give them a few minutes, John. They just won their series. They're probably very happy with themselves, and we know AG. They tend to forget everything after they win a series and just ping pong and whatever else people flying everywhere in the background every time we do an interview with these guys. So God only knows what's happening. John, there is a pretty hype matchup coming up next as well, in case the viewers were wondering. Fnatic up against T1. I can't believe I'm saying this, but both Fnatic and T1 both still have a chance to make it to the major. There's only one slot left. RSG's there as well. They're all tied in 3rd place right now. Rather, T1 is not tied in 3rd place, but it appears they still have a chance, John.
Yeah. So what happens is if T1 wins against Fnatic, it's a 3-way tie with Fnatic, T1, and RSG. If Fnatic wins, there are no tiebreakers, only the 1st place tiebreaker for DPC points between Boom and Talon. So it's going to be a tough one for T1, but we've seen this situation for T1 before, where their backs are against the wall and they just suddenly go beast mode. Whether or not they can pull that off against Fnatic, though, is a different question. Fnatic's shown us that this is the most consistent we've seen from them, and we do have our interview. It is Varish again. He's tanking the interview, as we mentioned, so should be ready to go here, Mike.
Well, apparently I've lost access to drag people into the...
I shall do it, Mikey.
No, I've got it. No, let me do it, Jonathan.
Okay.
No, I want the power.
Okay.
I want the power. Hello, Varish. Congratulations on your series victory, sir. How are you feeling right now?
Hello, yeah. Feels good. Even if we cannot qualify to the upper division again, but at least we are playing good, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys look fantastic. I'll ask you straight off the bat, Varish. This Potter 2 guy, how did you guys find him? Who is he? Why does he have the name Potter 2? What's going on with this guy?
I mean, before I joined AG, he's my ex-teammate, and he's like a young Indonesian player, and we know that he's good and seems like he got some potential. So yeah, we just asked him to play, I think, with us.
I probably shouldn't ask if he's a permanent fixture. It's just a stand-in for now, I assume.
Yeah, I think yeah. I mean, I cannot tell you, but yeah, he's a stand-in for now. Yeah.
That's all right. We'll wait for the next season. Tell me, before I let John start asking you questions, Varish, I appreciate you coming to talk to us every time there's an interview with you guys. Where is everyone else? Are they literally just throwing you for the interview every time?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the others just don't want to do the interview. I think they are just lazy.
Go on, John.
So you've closed out the tour. You placed really good here on AG, not quite enough to climb to Div 1. What are you guys looking forward to next? Like we have, I believe the immediate thing to worry about is in terms of DPC TI qualifiers. How are you feeling about going into that one?
Yeah, I mean, our season is already over, right?
Mm.
So from now on, we just gonna focus for the TI qualifier, and there is also ESL Genting, right?
Mhm.
We're gonna focus on that too for sure.
All right, excellent. Would be lovely to see that team on the LAN. I'm curious. It's the end of the tour. I think AG has managed to exceed expectations, placing really well. Again, not quite enough to go to Div 1, but still a really good spot in number 3. Do you guys have any celebrations lined up? I know you guys love to go out and eat. What's the plan tonight after this win?
Uh, Not really. I think we are not gonna celebrate anything because the Genting qualifier is coming on 18, right? So and tomorrow we still have the scrim. So yeah, we just gonna stay in the boot camp, I think.
Right, the busy time for the team. I'm curious. This is a bit of a flavor question. What do you guys do to bond now? Last time you mentioned it was badminton. You guys moved on from ping pong. Is it still badminton that you guys love to play? Is there something new? Do you guys play
Uh
sepak takraw or something?
no, not really. Lately I think we just like to go dinner together, I think.
All
We
right.
don't really do any other stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Not too much now. Well, congratulations to you guys. Looking good. And hopefully you guys do well elsewhere as well.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Thank you, Varish. Thank
Yeah,
you.
bye bye.
Bye bye. Always a pleasure to speak to the lovely Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I've completely messed up. John XctN, can you turn your... See, this is why I shouldn't have the power, John, because I accidentally dragged you out instead of Varish. Thank you, John. Welcome back, sir. Production exposed once again for their cheapness in using Discord. That was me, by the way. I'm not going to blame the production team. That was actually me. Still, Jonathan, great talking to Varish once again. You heard the man. Everyone else is lazy. He's the captain. He's going to step up and get the job done, and he's doing a great job of it. And yet, qualifiers are coming up. And this is the beautiful thing about LAN Dota coming back, right? This is something I've missed so damn much. I don't mind. I like DPC, but you need those LANs in between, the DPC tours and the majors. And we're going to have these LANs coming up. There's qualifiers for those LANs. People like to question the invites to particular LANs. What can you do? What can you do?
Yeah. What can you do? I mean, well, I already know a little bit of about those qualifiers for a certain tournament. I've had teams asking me. It's an interesting qualifier for sure, Mike. I think we'll all find out when that is fully released. But there's a lot to look forward to, and of course, there's always TI coming out. So this may be the end of the tour, but we have TI qualifiers after Arlington's all wrapped up. So there's still, it's the biggest tournament of the year. Every team's gonna have to shape up for that one, Mike.
With that, Jonathan, we're going to have to shape up and leave as, of course, Division 1 is coming in, and that's another lovely segue by Mike LaPhoenix himself, as we are going to head off to a very short break. I say short break, it probably is going to be a long break, but don't go anywhere. T1 versus Fnatic coming up. There's still a slot for the Arlington Major on the line here. Huge stakes between these two teams. See how it all breaks down. Of course, it is MLP Dota and John XctN, then we'll see you guys next time.